So let's head back to 1989 because Sheila Franklin opened her hairdressing salon 30 years ago. It's called Blow Your Top on Chapel Street, and it's just celebrated its 30th birthday. You had quite a party, didn't you, Sheila? Before we start, when you had this party, those two, you know, the two people you were just telling me about off air who were both seeing the same man, were they at the party?
Goodness, no.
Okay. And
No.
that must reflect, I mean, well, let's not go into the detail on this, but you were aware that two of your clients were seeing the same person. But that kind of story must happen all the time in a hairdressing salon.
Yes, there is lots of stories, but I don't really want to go into it because my clients and them would be, what?
It's exactly the same as a psychotherapist. What goes on in the hairdressing salon stays in the hairdressing salon. But you do, when you think about it, you are that rare moment in someone's life where they are sat in the same chair for an hour.
Yes.
It's very rare that happens. I mean, I say an hour. Is that short or long?
It could be an hour, it could be 2 or 3 hours.
That's
Depends
long.
Yes.
So to actually have a human in the same place at the same time for more than 5 minutes, it is rare. And if they're not seeing a counsellor, the next thing to that in terms of time is going to be in the hairdressing salon. So when you build up that relationship over a period of time, you do build up a relationship of trust, and you are going to hear their intimate stories, aren't you?
Yes, I do. And I listen. I tend to listen. I do give advice, but try to be very... it's about having a listening ear. I don't want to come across that I've got so many opinion and giving them my take on it. So I think why I've been around a long time is that they trust me and I give them that space. It's very much a quieter salon where they can come in and express themselves, and I love listening to them. I love listening to their stories, their lives. Sometimes we cry, sometimes we laugh.
It's not just about gossip, is it? It must be heartbreaking sometimes. People lose members of their family, children. Some of your own clients pass away.
Yes, and that has been hard with one particular client that I went and did her wedding in St. Lucia, and then she passed away. I still have memories of her, and we shared so much. And to see children come in from my clients as well, and they bring their kids.
That's when you know how old you are.
I know. I try not to, when they're saying, oh, I'm bringing my daughter or my granddaughter or my great-granddaughter. I think, oh, Lord, I've been here that long.
How did that even happen? Do the boundaries get blurred? Because, of course, they become friends of yours, don't they? And then you're still having to charge them for the haircut. And
I know.
Do you find yourself feeling bad about, being such an intimate confidant? And then that'll be £64, please.
Yes, sometimes I do, but business is business, and they never make me feel bad about it because I have a lot of friends that come in and my family, and they will come, have their hair done. If they went somewhere else, they'll pay. So they see it as a pleasure to give me their money.
And of course, the biggest part of trust here is not whether you'd come on BBC Three Counties Radio and tell their intimate stories. It's not whether you can be a confidant in the salon. The biggest trust is that you're wielding a pair of scissors. Now, that is dangerous, isn't it? And I mean in terms of get that haircut wrong, and the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks could be very, very uncomfortable for them.
Well, I try not to ever get it wrong, but you do sometimes, and it's how you flip it, and you kind of say to them, well, it's kind of looking really hot. You're looking so much more better than the choice that you wanted. So that's my take on how to get out of that. But,
I'm sorry I've shaved half your head, but actually, if you look at the current fashion trends, it's bang on, and give it another 6 or 7 months, and it will grow back exactly. Colouring is the dangerous one, isn't it? You do colouring, and it's going to come out completely wrong. Then you've got a problem.
Yes, I tend to do more vegetable colours, which is more semis rather than permanent.
Hold on, I'm learning stuff here. What is a vegetable colour?
It's just it's like a stain, so
Right.
It just stains the hair. It's not anything with chemicals in it, vegetable, and a lot of clients prefer that because it's kinder to their hair, so it's nothing permanent.
Do you ever have to lie?
I think that, Nick, you're asking me...
Do you ever have to be generous with the truth as to how the cut looks? That's the better way of putting it. You have to be kind.
Yes. I do remember a young man asked me to cut his hair like a monk, and his mother was saying, please don't do this, please don't do this. And in the end, I said to her, it's his head. I'm going to do it, but I'm going to be honest. And I said to him, do you like it? And he says, yes. And I said, well, if you don't mind other people staring at you, that's fine. Go out there. Be cool about it.
Which is as polite a possible way of saying, you look ridiculous. But if you're okay with that.
Awful.
Okay. In terms of your own upbringing, you were brought up predominantly in Bedford. Your parents were Grenadian.
Yeah, Carriacou.
And they went back home, didn't they? Your dad came, made his family, and then decided that was it.
Yeah, he never wanted to stay. And I think he was a sailor, a captain of a boat, and he always wanted the water. That was his thing. And I think for him, the pinnacle was we were old enough to survive and look after ourselves. They gave us all the tools to be out there. And 19, nearly 20, he decided that he was going to go. And he went back 30 odd years and he's still alive, kicking and still doing his thing.
You must have felt a little bit abandoned is the wrong word, but you know, you'd been brought up here and your parents then disappeared back home. That's quite a big hit.
It was strange. I remember my first memory, me and my sisters coming back from the airport with them, and we walk into the house and it was silence. And we burst into tears I don't know where it came from, that emotion. And then afterwards we were like, yes, freedom. We can do what we want.
And was freedom as good as you were hoping it would be at that point?
It was brilliant, but we missed them terribly. You know, your parents being there all the time. And 19, you're kind of young still, but I think we were always very mature. So we just got on with it.
How often did you go back?
Every year if I can, I try to go and see them. Well, not them, my mum passed away 6 years ago and it's just my dad.
Give me a sense of Grenada as a place, because and I love it whenever I ask anyone about any of the Caribbean, their eyes go into their head and basically they're about to say it's the most beautiful place in the world. But Grenada's not a place that I have a huge sense of. Mm-hmm.
Well, Grenada's very small and it has sister islands, which we are mainly in Carriacou and Petit Martinique, and it's the three islands together. It is beautiful. It's small. It's very much about the soca music, the food, the rum, and a family. When you get to Carriacou, you feel that you've come home. There's this strange feeling, even though I wasn't born there, but all my aunts and uncles and family are there, my parents. So you just get this sense. And we tend to go back. There's a large amount of us that every year we try to go home. We go for carnival. We love it. And it's just vibrant. The people are crazy but loving.
Is it an island where the French influence of the nearby islands starts to creep in or not?
The British was there, and you had the British. You had a bit of the French, the Spanish. There's a little bit of a mix-up there, but very much the British.
It sounds like a wonderful place to go back home to after bringing your children up in Bedford. So you opened the salon in 1989, 24 years old. That's quite a punt.
Yes. I went in with green eyes, didn't really know. I didn't have a business background. Family had businesses, but I didn't really know what I was doing. I'm a hairdresser, and that's the foremost thing, is I'm a hairdresser. I'm not really interested in the business side. I just survive, and I can't even give someone a tip how. I've just managed to do it.
Well, you've rolled 2 recessions.
Yes. It was hard, and there was lots of times where I felt I'm going to hang my hat up, but my mum always used to say, get right back there and do what you know that you're good at. And I always have that in the back of my mind. You know what? It's not the end of the world, even if I did hang my hat up. Just enjoy it. And once I'm enjoying it, I will continue to do it. That's it, really.
Stick with what you know and keep doing it.
Yeah, that's
and here
it.
you are 30 years later. Were people glad to come and celebrate those 30 years? You must have seen clients going all the way back to the late 80s.
Yes, I had a client, I think it's 30 odd years I've been doing her hair. She comes from Bedford and she's over 70 and she still gets on the train and comes in, and she was there. I'll say her name, Lorraine. And then I've got Dave Benjamin, 34 years. I've been doing him way before I had the salon. So there's a few of them that's been amazing. And the clients they really enjoyed that day. It was great.
My nan, in spite of not having huge funds, always had her hair done on a Friday. always. And she did so until her very, very last days, always by the same man. And I saw what it meant to her. It was her part of self-pride. It was her part of looking after herself. It was also her part of being seen locally. She used to glide down, elegant lady that she was, glide down to the hairdressers and be seen by people who knew and loved her. And that's why hairdressers are an integral part of the hub of our local life, and that shouldn't be underestimated at all. So just remind us, where can we find you for your next 30 years?
Blow Your Top, 90 Chapel Street, Luton.
And
hopefully I'll be there.
I was going to say, I hope you carry on for another 3 decades. You'll still be, you'll be well haircut age.
Would I be able to see?
You'll be in your mid-70s by the time, if we get to that point. It's very nice to have met you.
Thank you, Nick.
30 years in business. It's quite a run. Sheila Franklin from Blow Your Top, which is a hair salon in Chapel Street. It's BBC Three Counties Radio. You're listening to Nick Coffer.